Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This is not only a story about a movie star, it's the story of a man who made millions of people laugh while quietly carrying his own pain. It's the story of Jim Carrey, the boy who dreamed big, fell hard, and eventually discovered what truly matters. Jim Carrey's life isn't just about fame or success. It's about the human spirit, how it breaks, how it heals, and how it learns to shine again. Jim Carrey wasn't born into fame, money, or luxury. He was born in a small Canadian town called Newmarket, Ontario in 1962, the youngest of 4 children in a struggling family. His father, Percy Carrey, was a musician with a gift for comedy and music. He played the saxophone beautifully, dreamed of being on stage, and had a natural charm that could light up a room. But dreams don't pay bills. So Percy took the safe job as an accountant to provide for his family. Jim's mother, Kathleen, was kind but fragile. She suffered from depression and illness. The home often felt heavy, not because there wasn't love, but because there was too much pain. From the outside, they looked like an ordinary middle-class family. But behind the laughter and politeness, life was hard. Then came the breaking point. When Jim was 12 years old, his father lost his job. The safe job, the one he took instead of chasing his passion. That moment changed everything. Jim later said, "You can fail at what you don't want, so you might as well take a chance on doing what you love." He learned that lesson not from success, but from watching his father fail at safety. The family had no savings. They lost their home. For months, they lived in a van. They parked it beside a relative's house, sometimes even stayed in tents. It was cold, crowded, and humiliating. Jim and his brother had to work as janitors to survive. They cleaned toilets and factory floors after school. He was just a teenager, but he was already living the life of a grown man, tired, scared, and uncertain about tomorrow. At night, when the world was quiet and cold, Jim would look up at the stars and imagine a different life. He didn't know how, but he knew there was something bigger waiting for him. He just needed to find it. When your life is full of pain, you can either break or you can find a way to laugh through it. Jim chose laughter. His first audience was his sick mother. He would walk into her room, make silly faces, do impressions, and tell wild stories until she laughed. For those few minutes, she forgot her pain, and so did he. That's when Jim discovered something powerful. Laughter can heal. It can change the atmosphere of a room. It can make sadness disappear, even for a little while. At school, he was shy and awkward. He didn't fit in, but he had one secret weapon: he could transform into anyone. A teacher, a movie star, a news anchor. His imagination became his armor. Some teachers punished him for being disruptive. Others saw his gift and allowed him to perform at the end of class if he behaved. Comedy became his escape, his therapy, his identity. When he was 15, he convinced a comedy club in Toronto to let him perform. He stood on stage with a trembling voice, staring at a room full of strangers. He told his first joke silence. He forgot his lines. He froze. No one laughed. That night he walked home crushed, embarrassed, and ready to quit. But something inside him refused to die. He came back, again and again. He studied other comedians. He practiced in front of mirrors, trying new voices, new characters. He failed hundreds of times, but every failure built a stronger version of him. By 17, he dropped out of school to chase comedy full-time. His father, the man who gave up his dream, now drove Jim to clubs so his son could chase his. That image, a failed dreamer helping a young dreamer, became one of the most powerful moments in Jim's life. Jim began performing in small clubs across Canada. He made people laugh, but money was scarce. He barely survived. Still, he refused to give up. He believed that his pain was not the end, it was preparation. Eventually, he made his way to Los Angeles. He would park on the famous Mulholland Drive, stare at the city lights below, and visualize his future. He imagined himself already successful, acting, smiling, happy. Then he did something unusual. He took out his checkbook and wrote himself a fake check for $10 million. He dated it for Thanksgiving 1995. The note read, "For acting services rendered." He kept it in his wallet as a promise to himself and to the universe. Years later, that exact amount would become real. But not yet. There were still years of rejection, doubt, and invisible struggle ahead. Jim performed anywhere he could, sometimes on TV, sometimes for free. People didn't know what to make of him. Too weird, too physical, too over the top. But that weirdness was his uniqueness, and one day the world would catch up. In 1990, everything changed. Jim was cast in a new sketch comedy show called In Living Color. It was bold, edgy, and loud. He was the only white performer in the main cast, and he stole every scene. Characters like Fire Marshal Bill and Vera DeMilo showed his fearless creativity. He stretched his face like rubber, twisted his body like a cartoon, and committed so deeply that people couldn't look away. Hollywood was watching. Then came 1994, the year Jim's life transformed forever. 3 movies, 3 massive hits, all in one year. Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, The Mask, and Dumb and Dumber. In Ace Ventura, he was wild, unpredictable, and hilarious. A new kind of comedian. In The Mask, he was magical, blending comedy, emotion, and special effects in a way no one had done before. And in Dumb and Dumber, he showed pure comedic timing and charm. That year, Jim Carrey became a global superstar. And that fake check he wrote, he got paid exactly $10 million for Dumb and Dumber. It wasn't luck. It was manifestation through persistence. Overnight, Jim went from homeless to Hollywood. But fame has a dark side. The world adored him, but the laughter came with a price. He was constantly performing, even off camera. People expected the funny guy 24/7. He smiled for fans, did interviews, signed autographs, but inside he was collapsing. His first marriage with Melissa Womer began to fall apart. The distance between the person he was and the person everyone expected him to be grew wider each day. He once said, "I thought fame would fix everything. It didn't. It made the noise louder." He had everything people dream about: money, fame, recognition, but none of it made him feel whole. He was adored by millions, but couldn't recognize the person in the mirror. That emptiness became the beginning of something new. A breakdown that would soon lead to a breakthrough. In the late 1990s, Jim began to crave something deeper. He was tired of playing funny roles. He wanted to play truthful ones. Then came The Truman Show, 1998. It wasn't just a movie. It was a mirror both for Jim and for us. He played a man who lives in a fake world, being watched by millions without knowing it. As the story unfolded, so did Jim's own realization. Fame is another kind of cage. The film became a masterpiece, emotional, philosophical, and deeply human. He won the Golden Globe and proved that he wasn't just a comedian, he was an artist. Then came Man on the Moon, 1999, where Jim played the eccentric comedian Andy Kaufman. To prepare, he used method acting, living as Andy all the time, even off set. He confused everyone, his cast, his friends, even himself. He wasn't pretending anymore. He had become Andy Kaufman. After the movie, Jim said something haunting: "I lost myself. I didn't know where Andy ended and I began. He won another Golden Globe, but deep inside, he felt emptier than ever. That was the moment Jim began his true transformation, not as an actor, but as a human being. In the 2000s, Jim slowly disappeared from the spotlight. He started questioning everything: fame, identity, even reality itself. He battled depression, not the kind that comes and goes, but the kind that makes you question your purpose. He said depression isn't sadness, it's your soul saying, I don't want to play this character anymore. He began meditating, painting, and reading spiritual books. He explored the teachings of Eckhart Tolle and Alan Watts, learning that identity is an illusion. He started realizing that Jim Carrey, the name, the fame, the face, was just a story. And stories, no matter how famous, eventually fade. He began to see that peace comes not from becoming more, but from letting go. While the world wondered where he went, Jim was reborn in silence. He built an art studio in his home and started painting every day. Huge, colorful, emotional paintings, each one a piece of his soul. He said, "Painting helps me say what words can't." His work wasn't for fame or money. It was for healing. Through art, he found stillness, the peace that no award could ever give him. In 2017, a short documentary titled Jim Carrey, I Needed Color, revealed this side of him. People saw a man who wasn't chasing applause anymore, he was chasing truth. Jim's personal life had always been a battlefield of emotions. He loved deeply, and he hurt deeply. In 2015, when his former partner Catriona White passed away, it shattered him. For months, he disappeared completely. He stopped interviews, stopped appearances, just silence. But that loss also led him to deeper understanding. He said, "Her passing didn't destroy me. It woke me up." He began to see death not as an end, but as a return, a reminder that everything we hold onto is temporary. He started saying things that confused people. There is no me. Jim Carrey is just a character I play. To many, it sounded crazy. But in truth, it was clarity, the understanding that ego is an illusion. He stopped chasing meaning outside and began living from within. He realized that true freedom is when you no longer need to be someone. Today, Jim Carrey lives quietly in California. He wakes up with the sun. He paints, meditates, and walks in nature. He reads, reflects, and smiles, often not for cameras, but for himself. He has retired from acting, saying, I have enough. I've done enough. I am enough. He's no longer chasing happiness. He's living in peace. He says, I prefer peaceful over happy. Happiness comes and goes. Peace stays. He teaches that life is not about winning or losing, it's about awareness. About realizing that you are not your job, your name, or your image. You are the consciousness behind it all. People will remember him for The Mask, The Truman Show, Liar Liar, and 1,000 Jokes. But his real legacy is deeper. He taught us that it's okay to fall apart. That success without peace is failure. That it's possible to have everything and still feel empty. And more importantly, that it's never too late to find yourself again. He once said, I wish everyone could get rich and famous so they could see it's not the answer. He showed that true power is not in pretending to be happy, it's in being real. Jim Carrey's journey is not just about movies, it's about awakening. He lived every extreme, poverty and fame, joy and despair, illusion and truth. And in the end, he discovered something most of us never will. That peace doesn't come from achieving more, but from needing less. He reminds us to stop performing, to stop chasing, to stop pretending. He teaches us to slow down, breathe, and simply be. Because the real story of Jim Carrey is not about being a star, it's about becoming human. It's about breaking the mask, finding silence, and discovering the beauty of being nobody at all. He entered this world as a poor boy in a van. He became the face of comedy. He made millions laugh, then disappeared into stillness. He broke, healed, and found truth. And now his life whispers to anyone willing to listen, "You are enough." You don't need to become someone else to be worthy. You don't need the world's applause to feel alive. You just need to be yourself, raw, real, and awake. Because like Jim Carrey discovered, when the mask finally falls, that's when you truly begin to live. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. See you in the next one.